Hi there. I'm really sorry it's quite dark in here, but I have a migraine, or woke up with migraine, so I have to keep it somewhat dark here. Um, but yeah, politics, it's like American wrestling now, the entertainment kind. Everyone, or almost everyone, know it's fake, but people keep watching. Um, we're going to talk about that. Let's have a conversation about that. And again, I'm sorry. Also the lamp here, whoop, over there. It doesn't work. I tried to change the light bulb, but it doesn't work anymore. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to talk about Norwegian politics, and I'm going to talk about world politics as well. Maybe you don't care so much about Norwegian politics, but it's the same basically as everywhere else. It's just for show. What you're seeing is just for show, if I can put it that way, at this point. And you know, I'll ruffle some feathers as I always do. Um, I tend to ruffle feathers in all departments. I ruffle the feathers of the leftists and the people on the right, and Muslims and Christians alike. I ruffle all the feathers. I hope that's the right expression. Yeah. When I was 13, 14 years old, or was 15, yeah, around that age, my parents got cable TV. Before that, we had one channel. That was the state propaganda channel. That was the only TV available. But suddenly, we got access in our home to several channels. And one of the channels, they broadcasted American wrestling with Hulk Hogan and all of that. And I remember the Ultimate Warrior and the people when they're up there in the ring, which is not a ring, it's square. Why do they call it the ring? They when they punch, you can see that the punch stops at a significant distance from the opponent, and they stomp their foot in the floor to at the same time. So obviously fake, but I could see that the fans in the audience were going wild. They were cheering for their favorite wrestler. Quite funny, actually, because you know I was wondering, do these people not know that um, they are actors following a script? It's not random who wins the match. So, but anyway, yeah, it was entertaining for a little while there, I must admit. And we got to see, that what was to us a very American mindset, with people being very extrovert in that audience and so on. So yeah, great fun. Now, this is not going to be about wrestling, but I will say that I'm not ignorant to the fact that uh, apparently that business was quite cruel, maybe still is, with these actors being expected to be on steroids and so on. So obviously not good for their health. But politics at this point, seems to be, the way I look at politics now is that democracy is dead. I know there are Americans especially, they like to say that America is not a democracy, but then you don't understand what a democracy is and all of that. We have talked about that before. It's like, let's talk more about Norway. I'll use Norway as an example here. Every year we celebrate our constitution. It's called Constitution Day. It's the 17th of May. And we celebrate that even though, first of all, our constitutional rights were broken and ignored by our government during COVID. They practically put people in prison when they came to Norway from other countries, if they had been on holiday and so on. Was it 2 weeks? And that was unconstitutional. They closed down things that was unconstitutional, and the politicians, they really wanted to seize control of the, how should I put it, the lawmakers, I think that's what they call it, put those aside and have the government run the country without any, what do you call it, guardrails, without any check and control. You know what I mean. Add to that, but they didn't, because of one very brave, very strong and intelligent professor in law who wrote a Facebook post about that actually recently. Well, some time ago now, but yeah. So she managed to get people's attention about what they were trying to do. But anyway, I have the mentality now that when I listen to these politicians, being in Norway or other countries, and they are talking about what they want to do and how they want to make things better for people and all of that, I know that most likely they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that, and they are comfortable lying. And they make promises so that they will get elected. And when they get elected, they enter a system that is very rigid and that won't be changed. It's rigged and it's highly corrupt. Now, my definition of the correct definition of corruption, the Venn diagram. The circles and they, when the circles kind of, yeah, the Venn diagram. What lobbying and corruption has a lot in common. One good example is how they, again, in the USA and Canada and so on, we know that big pharma and the old tobacco companies have been lobbying for liberalization of the laws concerning narcotics, because they want to get people addicted so that they can sell more of that stuff, and they are highly invested in that stuff. That's a good example of corruption. But it's called lobbying. The weapons industry is another example of that. It's they are lobbying hard, and you must ask yourself, why is the USA starting these wars now? Oh yeah, guns and alcohol. Good point as well. And the weapons industry is massive, and they need politicians to start wars. They need wars to keep going. Ukraine is probably a good example of that. I don't buy the very simple and false idea that if we just keep pouring weapons into Ukraine, the Ukrainians will win the war. That's not going to happen, because at the other side you have Russia, and Russia is corrupt. It's highly corrupt. Can't people out there see that the same is probably going on there? The weapons industry is pushing for that war. Of course they are. Where do they get their weapons from? Within Russia, they make weapons. They get weapons, I believe, from China. Am I correct on that? Um, and now with the war in Iran, we're going to get back to that. The war in Iran the timing is interesting. Let's just put it that way. Um, the timing is very interesting, because if I had no morals, no ethics, I would first seize control of the oil reserves in a country like Venezuela before I started bombing a country like Iran. Because suddenly you have a lot more oil. And then who has the oil wins at this game. I am live. Yes, I am live. Okay. Yes. So, yeah, I'm not reading the chat window yet, but I'll start doing that now. Okay. Just wanted to get my points across here. Okay. Let's see here. Hello to Wes and Alexandra Art. Red Wolf Moon, Cat is here, Green Eyed Lady, Hannah, Clearwater Cruising Ministries. Hi there. Yes, nice to make your acquaintance as well. Let's see here. Are you afraid of Israel? No. I actually met some people from Israel the other day. Very nice people. I'm not afraid of Israel. I'm not really a person who is afraid a lot. Am I afraid of anything? I guess we're all afraid of something. I'm afraid of clowns and hospitals. Let's see here. Holy war? No, I don't believe in holy wars. I don't believe in that at all. I believe that wars are about resources, and they are caused by greedy people pushing for war to gain profit. Where was I? Yeah, so also if you wonder if I'm back, I am back. My channels were hijacked by a human piece of excrement. He was kicked out, and I am back. All my channels are back. It was horrible. But yeah. But wasn't the Viking Age holy war for Odin? No, that's no. It was for various reasons. But let's stick to the topic here. So I am not an expert on Iran. My knowledge of Iran is that I can point it out on the map. I know a little bit about the history. I know about the revolution there. I know that it was much more liberal, of course, before that revolution, where they basically made women second-grade citizens. I know it's a cruel theocracy. They hang people for all sorts of reasons. They punish people physically. It's quite horrible, and I am very happy that the Americans managed to kill one of the heads of the snake there, so to speak. Um, they are now. I'm not a Christian, so I really shouldn't use terms from Christian mythology, but I think it's quite fitting to use Salman Rushdie's to paraphrase Salman Rushdie. The rule in Iran is satanic. It's evil and horrible. So, you know, it's a good thing that the Americans are targeting those people on the top there. It's not a good thing that the Americans are bombing a girls' school, obviously. And I don't think that this war has anything to do with Iran being a threat. I think we've seen this. We saw this in with Iraq. What's his what was his name? The dictator in Iraq. In the whole thing with weapons of mass destruction. And Saddam Hussein, yes. Thank you. It has something to do as well with blocking China's access to resources. So, KP Heeden, good to see you. Good to see you there. Yeah. Now, where was I? I'm going to be a little bit incoherent now, and I'll keep talking. I'll try to follow my ideas of what I wanted to say, and then we'll just have a conversation, I guess, because I got up at I'll do some complaining now, okay? I got up at 2 a.m. because of a headache, and I've been working on my book, and then I'm doing this. But okay, complaining finished. Yeah, the war in Iran is actually, I struggle a little bit to see why they did that, but obviously anything that comes from the Oval Office or Trump and Hegseth is that's just nonsense. I I will just say I don't know why they did it. Money, interests, the weapons industry, lobbying, of course, but probably some other things too, blocking China's access, and so on. Maybe you guys have some ideas. Clearwater Cruising Ministries, that's very nice, and thank you for that. But I can't have a conversation going on like that all of the time. You know, we are there are more people than you in the chat, so okay. Yeah, okay, thank you. We'll keep going. I have the opinion that war is bad, and I'm against wars. I was against the war in Ukraine. I am against the war in Iran, and I'm against the rhetoric being used by our politicians. Now, if a country attacks another country, you have a war. You can't choose your way out of that. I understand that, but the reasons why what these politicians are saying now is like, it's, to me it's like wrestling, because it's like in Norway they're saying we need more people in the military. Young people are wonderful young people they need to be in the military, and they need to be there longer perhaps, and all of that. We need more money to the military. And it's like, it's as someone wrote there, it's a charade, you know. I understand that military now is not about manpower. At least not, it wouldn't be like that up here in Norway. It's about um, technology, probably. But um, they keep telling us these things, and it seems like they don't believe it themselves either. But there are lots of people that they just nod. Now, I don't want to I don't want to insult people here in my age category and older people, the generation older than me, typically called the boomers. But it's been like, it seems to be people 50 years plus that are most obedient to the rhetoric, from most obedient to authorities. And I think that Gen Z, I'm a big fan of Gen Z, actually, because my children are Gen Z, and I see that they are critical to authorities. They tend to think for themselves, that they're, that generation, which is good, which is good. But I also see that, the boomers are hating them for not being obedient to the system. Now, that's what we are talking about here, isn't it? The system, isn't it? No, I don't like the system. Maybe you guessed that by now, if you've been following this channel for a while. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. And by the way, I did a video where I talked about what happened here, where people tried to take over my channels. Well, they did take over my channels, those bastards, or one bastard. And then YouTube sorted that out for me. And now I will say, thank you, YouTube. That was nice that you did that, and you did it quickly. But where was I? Yeah, so I did a video that I shared to all my 4 channels, and that made people aware of my other channels. So we have gained almost 1,000 subscribers here. So if you are one of the new subscribers, welcome. It's good to have you here. Red Wolf Moon says, I'm Gen Z, and yeah, many of us don't put up with it at all, see right through everything, and we adapt. Yes, that's my impression too. So I have the opinion that age does not necessarily come with wisdom, and you can find a lot of wisdom in young people. We older people, now I sounded very old, but we get set in our ways, sort of, and it's refreshing, I think, to listen to younger people. They see things in another way, and yeah, I actually think I learn more from young people now than older people. But yeah, so I have to talk about, when you talk about the system, I have to talk about the charade, the Norwegian royal family. I'll keep it brief, but it's such a perfect example, right, of what we're talking about here. And there will be a video actually about the case against monarchy, uploaded here tomorrow or Thursday, depends on your time zone, I guess. So I'll keep it very brief. The Norwegian crown princess was Epstein's friend. Let's just say friend. They had a very flirtatious tone in their emails, and they met. She stayed at his house and all of that. So yeah, you can connect the dots there. It's a big scandal, and they did a couple of days ago. They did this um, highly edited interview with questions that they had been sent, so that they can prepare for those questions. And she shifted between being arrogant and saying that she didn't remember things. And I found it interesting because I thought they would try harder than that to restore the system. Because if you have a monarchy, and if you don't, you're lucky. But if you have a monarchy, the monarchy is a part of the system. And after that, I I noticed a lot of these politicians, they came crawling out of the woodwork and telling us that, oh, now we must forgive. We must forgive. Look at her. It, look at her. She didn't know, and all of that. And, of course, she knew about who Epstein was. She wrote an email to him saying that, where it said that, I Googled you and I agree it doesn't look good. And she added a smiley face. So she knew, of course. But I have noticed, again, I don't want to insult boomers, but there seems to be people my age, I'm Gen X, and the boomers who are now saying, not all of them, but some of them, that, oh, we must believe her, we must support the royal family and all of that. And I'm like, why? Why should we do that? It's just a charade. It's just like it's like American wrestling. Anyone who can think can see that that's just they are actors. They're playing. It's not real. But when it's wrestling, I guess it's okay. It's just entertainment. But when we're talking about politics and people making decisions that affect you, it's not so fun anymore, is it? So, you know what I'm saying? And I did not vote. No, hold on. Oh yeah, I did vote. Last time I did vote. But before that, I did not vote. But this time I did because of the taxes in Norway. I voted because I voted to get politicians into positions of power where they could lower the taxes. But that did not happen. They did not win. The Labour Party won, and now I'm locked and can't leave Norway because of the exit tax. So yeah, awesome, isn't it? While the royal family are having vacations on luxury yachts in the Caribbean and telling us to not to drive a car because we pollute. So yeah, I'll be thinking about them when I fold my milk cartons. Is that what you say? And I put the plastic here and the paper here and so on for the environment. When I do while I'm doing that, I'm thinking about what the crown prince is telling us about the environment. Because he's such a fucking good example of how to live a life um, protecting the environment, isn't he? uh, yeah. Her son, yeah, the royal rapist. He cried in court, yeah, saying he had lost all his friends because of what is going on. I think he lost his friends not because of that, but because now he's not able to provide them with narcotics anymore. Yeah, these politicians, yeah. I'll read your comments, Stevie. They fly private jets to Davos, then tell us to sell our cars and ride bicycles. Yeah, it's like American wrestling. It's just a charade. I'm borrowing that word a lot now, but it's 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 just like American entertainment wrestling. It's not. It's just nonsense. When they use a private jet to have a meeting with other people sitting there in their suits with their ties, and then they tell us not to use our cars. It's you can't respect that. You really can't. Um, Another commentary: the only difference between the politicians and the pro wrestlers is that what they wear when they get in the ring. Yeah. Um, yeah, Alexandra. Yes, you're writing about the royal rapist there. I know, but he was looking for sympathy. Yes, I think he's just a kid. He's 29 years old, but he never grew up. He's not a man. Um, and yeah, another thing there is that these women that he was involved with, they seem to have been the same kind as him. Highly involved with narcotics and that kind of lifestyle. I don't pity them. I don't feel sorry for them. Sorry, but sorry to you guys if anyone out there feels that that's cruel of me, but no, I don't. Of course, it's not. I don't support what he was doing. Of course, he needs to go to prison for that. But these people don't get my sympathy. Um, let's see here. Google Lindsey Graham ladybugs if you want to be grossed out. Oh, Jeffrey, I don't want to do that then. Yeah. Um, yeah. So you missed the boat. People in the U.S. is our in age 70 that doesn't buy this. Yeah. Is it John? I as I said, I'm not talking about everyone, and I also am talking from a Norwegian perspective. But I know people here around the age of 80 who do not support um, the royal family and so on. But they're and the and the career politicians. But it seems to be more common in that age bracket than among the younger people. The corruption is just incredible. Yeah, it is another example of. Here's another example of how the system is run by corruption. The wind turbines, the wind farms. Um, th- it's interesting when you start looking into it and how corrupt it is. Because what um, I can explain it in a simple way like this, and not because you're stupid, I can't understand, but maybe I'm stupid because also it's very early. I can't be bothered to go through the whole chain of corruption there. But basically, companies bribe politicians here to get access to Norwegian wilderness areas. They destroy them and they erect the wind turbines there. They get money for that, and then they leave. Countries, no, companies from other countries very often, they get paid to build the wind turbines. They get profit, then they leave. You know, the wind turbines are not profitable, but they don't care. They don't care. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for protecting the environment and trying to be independent of oil. I think that's just sensible, but there is a way to do that, and it's a very simple way. Um, but your government, they don't want you to do what really would work, and what would work is that you get a wind turbine on your land, on your roof, for instance. You get solar panels. Now, I'm talking about the sort of wind turbines that you will see on a yacht, on a sailing boat. I had one of those when I had the boat I had before the one I have now. Works great. It's not noisy. You can. There's a knob. That's a funny word. Knob that you can turn, and the blades stop going round and round. Um, then you power your house. Why don't we do that? Why don't we all go off grid? Oh no, I can't do that. No, the government, they don't want you to do that. No. Um, because then you would be independent. You know. So how much has gas gone up in Norway since Iran war? Let's see. Around, it was already expensive, but uh, a little more than $0.50 per liter. Joel, good evening to you. It's morning here. Thank you for those kind words. I'll do my best. Yeah, do you use gallon? I don't know how much a gallon is. We use liters. Over €2 per liter here in Finland. Yeah, it's about the same here. It's about the same. And it doesn't need to be that expensive because most of that, I believe, is taxes. 4 liters in a gallon. Okay. Yeah, it's too early for me to recalculate that in my head. Our business says a gallon is 2 cows of milk. Yeah, so actually, I have a petrol car, and you can, I like the independence of a petrol car. Oh, wow. Thank you, Joel, for that kind donation. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Um, where was I? Yes, I have a petrol car, but at this point, I can't. I don't think I can keep it. I don't think I can keep it because it's just so expensive now to drive that car. I have to go to Oslo today, and I don't even want to think about the cost of going there. You know. So, but of course, I have two big dogs, so that's a problem with electric cars because they are built. They don't have much space usually um, in the back of the car where the dogs where I keep where the dogs are when I'm driving, right? So yeah, and there are some new bigger electric cars, but they're just too expensive. Um, so yeah, you know, I don't know what to do at this point, but I have to drive. I can't just stay at home, and I live in the countryside. I can't use public transport. It would take a whole day to get to somewhere. Yeah. But that's what I want, isn't it? Oh, good morning, Mr. Sorpos. Are you out in the woods now? Wonderful. Um, Amanda says, I love watching camping videos. There are camping videos coming up. I should have gone camping last week, but this bastard hijacked my channels that I had to sort that out. So I couldn't go anywhere. uh, yeah, they don't want you to live in the countryside, apparently. They don't want you to have a car. They don't want you to have that independence. Um, at least that's what it looks like, you know? Her business says, you're cool if people want to steal your channel. Well, they used it to run a live stream with crypto scam. And as I said, if I could get hold of that person who did that, well, I would pay a lot of money for that. I won't, I won't say anything more. Apparently that's not what I want to say is illegal. Mike is asking, have there been any discussions in Norway about the government getting involved in the Iran war? Not discussions, they're just saying they're not going to get involved. Laura is asking, aren't electric cars a real problem to drive in the cold weather because they have to be recharged a lot? Not the new ones. They seem to be okay with that. But when I switch to an electric car, which I have to do as soon as possible, you know, because of the cost of my petrol car. But when I do, it's not going to be because I want that or because of the environment, but because I'm forced to do that because of the money. Um, yeah, the when they hijacked my channels, it was a nightmare. It was um, a nightmare. It gave me a burning migraine that day, but I had to keep working on solving that, communicating with the people who helped me out with that. It was just a day of burning pain all of that day. It was horrible. I just got this sinking feeling in my stomach and anxiety, and it was just such a horrible experience. It was just a horrible experience. And feeling that kind of anger and not being able to get hold of the person was so frustrating. Uh, um, let's see. I okay. I kind of I see the time now. I have to leave early because I'm driving to Oslo. So I have to go actually. I'm going to hospital actually. I have waited for months to get an appointment there. It is about migraines. Um, yeah, but it's like I will say this. I might sound a little bit like it might sound a little bit like self pity, but I do feel that whenever there's something wrong, and I go to the doctor, that never almost never happens. But I I feel I don't get any sympathy any longer. Is it because I'm a middle-aged man, and they just tell you, oh, you have to live with this. Oh, take some paracetamol and rest a couple of days. Uh, or they tell you stupid things like, oh, you should just take it easy for a while. And yeah, okay, wonderful. I'm not employed anywhere, so nobody pays me if I take it easy for a while, you know? Yeah. Uh, so we will see. Uh, yeah, we will see. Okay. I think, as I said, I have to leave. Yes, I have to leave now. Drive safely, says Margot. I will do that. I'll be listening to some YouTube videos and podcasts and stuff like that while I'm driving. So, yeah, good to have you all back here. Good to be back. And yeah, awesome. Um, yeah, reading the comments there, and thank you. Thank you for all the nice comments there. Okay. Have a wonderful evening or morning, whatever it is. We will be talking again soon. So, okay. Bye bye.